Not since 2005 have we seen John Cena pick up the red, white, and blue and start fighting for the good old USFA. But at WrestleMania 31, that's what John Cena is going to do. And basically, John Cena goes into WrestleMania 31 and fights Alexander Rusev for the United States Championship. Cena is going to be battling not only Rusev, but Lana is going to be out there, and all of the Russian soldiers that are going to be bringing Rusev and the belt down to the ring, making sure that John Cena does not to do what he has chosen his path to be for WrestleMania 31. John Cena, one of the biggest stars. When you think about the United States Championship, you don't think about a lot of main eventers holding that championship. The past list of champions is a whole lot of guys with a whole lot of promise, but nobody really, has the faith of WWE to put them in main event situations. A lot of guys that have a lot of fans, real good in the mid card, but it doesn't seem like any of these guys are going to be reaching up to the main event circus yet. Alexander Rusev, the last year that this guy has had inside of the WWE, of course, the Royal Rumble was the 1 year anniversary of his career starting. When he came in and debuted at the Royal Rumble, it was a little bit longer, a little bit after WrestleMania, I believe, is when he started his singles career. I thought that he was going to be in the Battle Royal. But they ended up, I don't think, putting him in there because they didn't want him to be, they wanted to go with this undefeated streak, which is still going, still today. Almost a 1 year run of running through everybody. He hasn't fought the biggest names in the WWE like John Cena, but, he has knocked off some former champions in Biggie Langston, Jack Swagger. I don't know what the NWA title means to you guys, but he beat R-Truth. It is what it is. But, Rusev has just basically done what his nickname is, or is the name of what he does. Crush. He's crushed people. He's left people laying. Almost the only guy that's really stood up to him and really put up a fight in these matches has been Jack Swagger. I had all the faith in the world in Biggie Langston. I would love to see another Biggie Langston match. And once Rusev loses, that undefeated streak goes out the window. And then what does Rusev really mean to the WWE? What does this Russian gimmick really, have to do with modern day wrestling today? A lot of people hate this guy, mostly for the fact that he comes in and he hasn't lost yet. He comes in there and he says the same basic stuff that we've seen the Russians do all throughout the past history of wrestling. But the Russians really aren't a big rival to the United States anymore. No one really thinks about the the big red dawn coming to come get us or anything like that. It's been a long time. I guess basically the only person who fights the Russians anymore is James Bond. I don't think WWE really wants to be pointing against the Middle East folk. It didn't really work when WWE was doing the Muhammad Hassan gimmick, and they haven't really crossed that road to go back to there. But Muhammad Hassan was a gas can full of gasoline thrown onto an open fire. That really got WWE up in flames, and he was coming in. I really thought that when Muhammad Hassan was running through guys in the WWE and they put him up against John Cena on that edition of Monday Night Raw, that Muhammad Hassan should have beat John Cena. At Fastlane, that is what they did. Basically, Rusev beat John Cena. It was a big deal. Lana came into the ring thinking the match was over. You can debate whether if Lana knew the match wasn't over and was actually interfering, knowing that the referee would get involved with her getting into the ring with the United States Championship. Cena got kicked right in the nuts by Alexander Rusev, which followed up with a super kick right to the side of the head, knocking him cold, lacking him in the accolade, and the referee made the stoppage due to John Cena not being able to react to the instructions from the referee. I can see this going both ways. I was very, very down on last year at WrestleMania 30 with John Cena beating Bray Wyatt. I thought that took a lot of fuel out of his fire, and he hasn't really been the same since. Rusev, I know, is going to lose a lot when he loses that undefeated streak, and is John Cena, just to put another feather in his cap of another win at WrestleMania, gonna want to kill another guy? Definitely, when Rusev loses that streak, it's almost all over for him. Definitely, if you take the United States Championship away from him, I know that they'll fight again, more than likely at Extreme Rules, and from there, where does Rusev, go? I mean, does Rusev go and fight Sheamus again? You know, they haven't really got a rematch since that Monday Night Raw Backstage Pass. How they haven't done any more of those backstage exclusives to the WWE Network. That match was what everybody was talking about. I believe at the time, the people over in Europe were really mad because they didn't have the WWE Network yet. There was no way to see this match other than waiting for somebody to upload the match to YouTube or Daily Motion or downloading some sort of a torrent or anything like that. I don't even think WWE cared to put it up on their website. I think they just basically put the headline, Rusev, shocks the world, Rusev beats Sheamus, and that was all she wrote. From there, they made Rusev into the main event of the Survivor Series with him joining the Authority, which was a good move and a bad move, knowing that, Rusev had to get counted out in that match. They had to figure out some sort of a way for him to take a loss, but not put a loss in his loss column, being knocked out and crawling to the ring for his count out made him look pretty strong, like he was trying to get back into the fight, even though he had gotten his ass kicked. Much like the Sheamus versus Mark Henry match at SummerSlam 2011, when they went through the barricade, and that's a very, very memorable moment. Where Sheamus took the loss, Mark Henry became basically the #1 contender to go after Randy Orton at Night of Champions, but Sheamus was still trying to get in there, and I think that was the last loss that Sheamus took until he won the title at WrestleMania 28. Everybody remembers that. But this is going to be a good one. I mean, Rusev is going to hit Cena as hard as he can, and Cena's going to be able to take it, and it's just a matter of trying to figure out what the finish is going to be. In my heart, the finish that I think that we're going to see is Cena getting the win. All those parents and all those kids that are going to be at WrestleMania 28, do they want to be walking out of WrestleMania 28 drawing their kids' tears from them crying of John Cena not being able to beat Rusev, and parents walking out of there thinking they wasted their vacation and their hard-earned money trying to take their kid to WWE's biggest show on the road, WrestleMania. It's definitely not a cheap show to go to, even if you live in the area of Santa Clara and you just happen to be a John Cena fan. You want to take your kids, you got to throw down a pretty penny. Parking's gonna kill you. Admission's gonna kill you. You take your kid there, they're gonna want a shirt, they're gonna want popcorn, they're gonna want soda, hot dogs, they're gonna want the works. They're probably gonna want ice cream by the time the show's over, and you're gonna want to get your money's worth. You're gonna be pumping them full of anything you can to keep them happy from having that breakdown. But that's what it's all about. WrestleMania 31, John Cena versus Rusev. Who you got?